My dad had always been the practical, hard-working type. After Mom passed, it took him years to even consider dating again. So when he finally met Margot, I was honestly relieved. She made him smile again, and that was enough for me. She was nothing like my mother. Louder. Brighter. The kind of person who filled a room before she even said a word. But she made Dad happy. At first, her efforts to connect with me seemed sincere. She made my favorite meals, asked about my day, remembered little things I'd mentioned in passing. I figured she was just trying to settle in, earn her place. But over time, something felt off. It was subtle. The way she'd brush lint off my hoodie a second too long. How her laugh lingered when I told a joke, a little too warm. I told myself I was overthinking. Maybe it was just unfamiliar, seeing Dad with someone new. But the unease didn't go away. One night, I was on the couch in our house near Bar Harbor, working on a college project. Margot sat down across from me and asked about my plans after graduation. It started out normal enough. College, jobs, maybe traveling. But then she said, almost wistfully, it's hard to find real connection. Even in marriage. Her voice was quiet, distant. I wasn't sure how to respond. There was something exposed in her tone I hadn't heard before. When I looked up, she gave me a faint, unreadable smile. A tension settled between us like static. Before I could say anything, Dad's voice echoed down the hall, asking if we'd seen his phone. Just like that, the moment vanished. Margot leaned back, face composed again. I'll check the kitchen, I muttered and escaped to my room, heart racing. I told myself it was nothing. I'd misunderstood. But that look, that silence, it haunted me. The next night, Dad left on a short work trip. Something he did often. I stayed upstairs, trying to avoid Margot, but couldn't stop replaying the other night in my head. Then came the knock. I made dinner. You hungry? I hesitated, but said yes. I couldn't think of a reason not to. When I came downstairs, the table was set with candles and two of my favorite dishes. She smiled when she saw me. Gentle. Almost relieved. We ate mostly in silence. But this time, she felt different. Quieter. Worn down in a way I hadn't noticed before. She started talking about how lonely the house felt when Dad was gone. How she'd drifted for years before meeting him. Her voice trembled slightly, and she kept tracing her glass rim with her fingertip. Then, for a second, just a second, her hand reached for mine. It was brief, but deliberate. I pulled away instinctively. Not hard. Just enough. Her face flushed. She stood and started gathering the dishes without a word. I sat there, stunned. Later, I heard her moving around in the kitchen, long after everything had been cleaned. I told myself again, she was just lonely. I was just imagining things. But I didn't believe it. Over the next few days, everything changed, quietly. She acted normal. Kind. Attentive. But I was hyper-aware of every look, every word. I hated myself for analyzing it, for turning moments over in my mind like puzzle pieces that didn't fit. One night, while I was studying in the living room, she came in and sat silently across from me. She didn't say anything. Just scrolled on her phone. But her presence unraveled me. When she finally asked if I was okay, I muttered something vague about school. She smiled softly. Like she knew I was lying. That night, Dad called from the road. Hearing his voice made everything worse. The guilt flooded in. He had no idea what was going on. If anything was even going on. I didn't know any more myself. I started avoiding her as best I could. Stayed out of the house. Buried myself in schoolwork, in walks along the rocky shore, in anything that gave me distance. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw that moment at the table. Her hand on mine. The weight of it. When Dad finally came home, I felt this strange mix of relief and shame. Watching him hug her, watching her relax in his arms like nothing had changed, made my stomach twist. Maybe she was hiding something. Or maybe I'd just made it all up. I told myself I had to let it go. Whatever it was, or wasn't, I couldn't let it consume me. I had to focus on finishing school, on moving forward, on rebuilding a version of normal. I had to believe that moment meant nothing. But even now, it lingers. Not just the memory of her hand on mine, but the silence that followed. That silence said more than either of us was willing to admit.